Well, Michelle, it's that time of year again. When people start sending and receiving Halloween cards in the mail.
I love that time of year.
As do I. So we're going to be making some Halloween cards today.
Oh, good. You know, I still haven't gotten one from you.
Really?
Still waiting.
Huh. Well, the one card we've gotten so far was very complimentary. And totally not something I wrote while we were driving over to film that bit.
Of course not. That was clearly from one of our loyal supporters.
Clearly. So my first priority this season...
Is my card?
No. It's a card from my friend Max.
Okay.
Max is a good kid, and I want to make sure this card is a little bit special, maybe personalize it a bit. I'm working digitally, as you can see, in Clip Studio Paint.
Okay.
And I believe I'm using the G Pen, which comes standard with the app.
Oh, nice.
To ink this image of the Frankenstein monster. You know, every time we make a greeting card like this, I mentioned that the reason I fabricate these things is because I'm too cheap to buy them.
Uh-huh. Well, you are cheap.
Oh, I am cheap. I'm a real skinflint. But we also, each time, we have to face the reality that making these cards actually costs a lot more in time and effort and supplies. I'm not making out on this deal.
Right.
This is not a shortcut to becoming a millionaire.
I really wish you had told me that before I invested everything I had into your indie greeting card business.
Well, live and learn, Michelle. You live and learn. But I think what I'm really saying when I say that is that I don't like paying money to a faceless corporation for something that I can do.
Oh, yeah.
And oftentimes something that I can do better.
Right.
Hallmark.
Looking at you.
American Greetings. That's the goal anyway. That's the goal. To make something at least as good as what you can get in the shops.
So you're coloring this in Clip Studio Paint too?
Yes. And I'm coloring it just like I would color my comics. Flats on one layer, highlights and shadows on another. And I'm going for kind of a watercolor effect.
Okay.
Colors blending and bleeding into each other, but I'm trying to keep things bright and fun.
Looks good so far. The mummy. Or a mummy. A random mummy.
Yeah, just a random mummy. The mummy was my father. You could call me Skippy St. James.
All right. And you're not working digitally for this one.
No. I was just going to make the Frankenstein's monster card. But then I thought, you can do all this with traditional tools too.
Right.
So I thought, let's cover that.
Okay.
I used Dr. Martin's Black Star ink to brush the heavier lines onto nice, heavy watercolor paper.
I'll put the tools and materials down in the info.
Good. Then also jot this down. I'm using Microns to hatch in the finer lines. Later on, I'll use watercolors. It's basically the exact same thing I did digitally in Clip Studio Paint with Frankenstein.
That's convenient.
I think so.
Yeah, that you can use the same technique digitally and with traditional tools.
Yeah, it's convenient, and it's also probably a good thing to talk about that, you know, to remind people that if you work digitally exclusively, there's no reason that you can't work traditionally or vice versa. You know, it's all the same brain creating the art. It's all the same hand.
Right? Both hand done, just using different tools.
Exactly. We made this channel so we could try to get better in different mediums.
Oh, yeah.
I hope on some level it's also encouraging other people to try different things in different mediums outside their comfort zones. All right, so now it's time to cut the cards. Because I wanted a die cut look to the cards, much of this cutting was done through 2 layers of paper.
Oh, yeah.
So the backs would match the fronts. But to do that, I really had to bear down on the blade, and that is not always a good idea.
Oh, no.
You don't have as much control. The blade could snap. So I guess, in the interest of safety, if you're going to try to make something similar, especially if you're working with kids.
Oh, yeah, I could see kids wanting to do this.
Right? Or not, maybe. Maybe to kids, cards are an ancient form of communication.
You're right. They probably just text emojis back and forth.
Yeah, well, it saves on postage.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, if you're going to try to make cards like these, I suggest the adults handle the sharp stuff. And I would even suggest just using scissors instead. I don't know what I was thinking with the craft knife. I could have lost a thumb.
Knowing you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Both thumbs. I told you I wanted to make these a little bit special. So I worked out a way to put a little surprise in each card. For Max's card, I wanted him to be able to pull up on Frankenstein's flip top.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd see the brain. And also a personalized Halloween message. But that involved some cutting and gluing and folding.
Wow.
And some,
Elaborate. Bet it'll be worth it, though.
Oh, Hallmark would be lucky to have a card this cool. Yes. American Greetings should beg me for this design. To be fair, I don't know if any of the card companies have designs like these already. You know, we haven't been to a card store in a long while. But even if they did, it's not like I'm going to buy them.
Not when you can make them.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Right. Like, why do something simply when you can drag it out and kill your whole week playing with sharp instruments, right? That's the point.
What's this now? A third card?
You would think. Now, that is the surprise in the mummy card. You know how I went gruesome with the mummy's head?
Yeah.
I wanted some very family-friendly Halloween art on the inside.
A nice contrast.
Yeah, and aside from providing contrast and more Halloween spirit, the inside of the card interacts with the front of the card in a way that I'll show you when it's done.
And you're sticking with the watercolor for the interior, too.
Yeah, I think it's got a nice classic feel to it. All right, let's take a look at the finished cards.
I know you said the watercolor has a classic feel to it, but honestly, the digital color looks really nice too.
It's not too bad.
I don't know if I could tell the difference if you didn't tell me.
But I think that they both turned out pretty good. Both cards. The blacks are nice and dark. The color is nice and vivid. But let's see how the little surprises turned out. All right, here's old Frank wishing you a happy Halloween. Specifically to my friend Max.
I love that.
Yeah, and I hope he does too. And now, the rotting corpse of the mummy is unwrapped to reveal a sweet little Halloween vignette.
Okay, I get it.
Right?
So the ghost's mouth is the mummy's eyeball.
Yeah.
And the other eyeball is the Oh, and Halloween.
Yeah, I know it's genius. It's absolute genius. Stop buttering me up. You can have the card. I can tell this will be your Halloween
Really?
card. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Look for it in the mail.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
And just so you don't think I'm a complete idiot, yes, both cards fit in their envelopes. And if this video didn't give you enough Halloween fun, you can always check out this other video we did a couple years ago where I inked the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus. That's topical, right? There's
a sequel out now.
Yeah,
so.
right? So, well, that's all I need. Just one impossibly thin thread to connect the current video to whatever we link to.
Yes.
Good enough for me.